Good morning, everybody. First of all, I do apologize if you hear any vroom sounds. I'm recording this on my phone. That means basically if you hear any vroom sounds, those are notifications through email, Instagram, text messaging, Facebook messaging, you name it. So I do apologize for that, and I do apologize if you hear a big old vroom sound. That's going to be my bank notifying me that certain funds are not available to automatically take out for bills and everything like that. So I do apologize for that. And with that said, let's get on with the topic here. So good Thursday morning. It is about 8:13 a.m. as I'm recording this Pacific time. And yesterday, about this time actually, a little earlier I should say, a little over 24 hours, to put it that way, Marvel Entertainment had uploaded a live stream. Now what was interesting about this is I got up. Well, I didn't get up, but basically, I think it was the day before, just as I was going to bed. I noticed that Marvel's YouTube channel, which I'm subscribed to, had a big announcement, in the title for the video, and it said upcoming, upcoming and all that, which mainly means either, a premiere or a live stream or something like that. So they said upcoming, Marvel big announcement. And I, like a lot of people, had no idea what this meant. Well, let me correct myself. Some kind of had a clue what it meant, some didn't. But those that did have a clue basically knew that it had something to do with Avengers, basically the next two Avenger movies. And, well, they were right. Those that had a feeling it had to do with something with the Avenger movies, they were right. Because basically, for 5.5 hours, almost 6 hours, Marvel / Disney decided to do a very unique casting announcement, for Avengers Doomsday, which is the first half of these two Avenger movies that are going to tie into each other. Because the other one that follows is Secret Wars. But, as I said, Disney and Marvel decided to go a little different route, if you will, when it came to the casting announcements. Now, usually they would save these casting announcements maybe for San Diego Comic-Con, right? They would save it for then, or they would decide, hey, we're going to gather all the cast together somehow, some way, somehow, and we're going to have them announce that, hey, we're going to be in the movie and this is the roles we're taking on. I do apologize for that notification there. As I said, these things are going to be popping up if they did. That was an email. But like I said, they basically as I was saying, usually they save these announcements, for San Diego Comic-Con, or try to find a way to, gather all the cast together and have them announce that, hey, we're going to be in the film. Well, they did it a little bit more differently. Because what they did here is they basically, obviously they were at the studio where they're filming, or at least one of the studios where they're filming. And they started to lay down a lot, a director's chair, one after the other, about every 15 to 20 minutes, or so, maybe less. They would put down a director's chair with a name on the back of the chair. And that name would represent the person that's going to be in the movie. And for 5.5 to almost 6 hours, they did this. Now, what's crazy is a lot of people did not appreciate what Marvel was doing, and how they were handling this. Some, they were wondering, curious about the big announcement. Now, give Marvel credit. They did do a great job, in my opinion, and it is early as I'm recording this. Like I said, it's about 8:17 now a.m. Pacific time. But give credit where credit is due. Marvel did a decent job when it came to doing this unveiling, because they knew that if they titled their video casting announcement, then yeah, people would tune in, but maybe they would just wait to watch it later, or something like that. They would probably tune in if it was live, or they'd just watch it later because they felt, hey, it's just a video that's going to be premiering and everything, and we could talk with each other, as fans live in the live chat, and that's it, The way they did it, though, again, got to give them credit because they knew they had to find a way to get people's attention. They probably realized maybe we're not going to retain their attention, that much. We're not going to retain their attention that much, but, it's, we got to give it our best shot. And they did. They did do their best here, in my opinion, because by naming it Big Announcement, they knew that was going to garner some attention because people want to know, okay, what is it? Is it going to be maybe a 5-minute teaser of for Avengers Doomsday? Is it going to be concept art? What's it going to be? Is it going to tell us that now, they have plans already set and ready to go for Phase 7? A lot of people are wondering, a lot of people would wonder, right? Although, like I said earlier, folks pretty much had a good idea of what it would be about or what it would pertain to. And lo and behold, they were right. They pertained it basically to the casting announcement of, the Avenger movies, at least one of them, like I said earlier. But they had no idea they were going to do it in this manner to where for 5.5 to 6 hours, they would basically put down chair after chair after chair after chair after chair with a star's name on it and the role they were going to be basically playing. But again, give them credit what's due. They did get people's attention enough to where people initially, when the live stream started, got themselves up early to watch this announcement, or at least watch the beginning parts of it. Because apparently when you go around and you talk to people or you listen to what people had to say about it, like John Campia, 3C Films, Chris there, and all that, people will say that those that tuned in initially checked out. They checked out basically after maybe an hour and a half or an hour or 30 minutes at the earliest. They checked out because they pretty much figured, well, if this is what it's going to be, then screw this, I'm done. I'm just going to wait till it's fully completed to give my analysis, to give my reaction, to give my thoughts. And that's what a lot of people did. Now, the guy I can't think of his name, but the guy that's the head YouTuber, the head video host of Comic Book Cast 2, CBC2, he basically, I guess, sat through the entire thing. Or at least we can assume this. I mean, because if there's anything with a live stream, just like a live broadcast, especially nowadays, is you could pause it. You could pause the show or the episode, as it's happening, and then just resume where you left off. You can just resume where you left off, even if you're a little behind. So we could assume the guy that runs Comic Book Cast 2 here on YouTube, he probably sat through a majority of the 5 hours, but not entirely. So he probably paused, got something to eat, stuff like that, and, resumed where he left off. Anyway, basically, though, again, you got to give Marvel credit for doing what they did here, even though they probably anticipated, as some people reported, a lot of folks probably checking out early because it's like, really, if this is what you're going to do, okay, fine, no problem. But it was a unique way to do the cast announcement. I'm not going to deny that. And the way they ended it is by having the last chair be Robert Downey Jr., and you see Robert Downey Jr. sitting down in it, looking towards, turning towards the camera, going, shh, and all that, and then presenting all the chairs of who's going to be in the movie. Now, they did a similar situation, too, for the short version that you can find here on YouTube as well as on social media, where he's just like, he does the shoot, but he doesn't do like the presentation. He like moves his arm towards the chair, says, here you go. Here's your cast as of right now. He doesn't do that. Instead, he just looks back on it like, okay, and then walks off screen. So basically, he did 2 takes when it came to this. He did 2 takes, one for the short version and one for the live stream. So that was kind of cool. Kind of cool to see him being the last one there, and basically him being the one to present the fact that here you go. Here's who's going to be, I should say, in Doomsday. So that was kind of cool. But with that said, and I know I've been dragging on for a while, and I do apologize if you hear any boom, 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 boom. That's me putting in my lock code for my phone, so I do apologize for that. But with that said, and since we're about 10 minutes in, just about 15 seconds in, or 20 seconds in, what was the cast, just in case people did not see it? Who is in the film? Well, let's get into that, shall we? Let's get into that at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. So, here's who was announced in this video. Here's who was announced in this video to be part of Avengers Doomsday. We have Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, and the way they presented him is it looked like they were going to go to a chair, but there was no chair, but then the camera panned down, and you saw a tiny chair basically representing ant size with his name on it. So yeah, Paul Rudd, he's in there, even though he denied not knowing about it, so he's in there. He's going to be, of course, Ant-Man. They had Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. He's going to be in it. Tom Hiddleston will be back as Loki, even though some people feel like, wait a minute, didn't his story wrap up in the Loki series? Yeah, but if this is dealing with the multiverse that's going to lead into Secret Wars, he's going to obviously play an integral part. Now, moving on, we have Lewis Pullman as Sentry. Sentry, who's going to be in Thunderbolts and all that. Obviously, this either means he's going to be, reformed and everything after the movie or something. I mean, one thing about this cast announcement, it does kind of spoil maybe what direction future films are going to go, but we'll see. But yeah, Lewis Pullman will be in it as the Sentry. Florence Pugh will be back. She's also in Thunderbolts as Yelena as Yelena. Florence Pugh as Yelena. She'll be back, the new Black Widow. Danny Ramirez, who's in the Falcon, who's in Captain America, the new Captain America film, Brave New World. I think that's the new one, right? I gotta look again. But yeah, the one that's in Captain America 4, and it was also in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Danny Ramirez will be back as Falcon. And then here's where the big ones came in. Now, they did this later on, but the way Discussing Film has it listed, they pretty much give away, this one of the big surprise, one of the big reveals here. But one of the big reveals that took place during the stream, of who's going to be in Doomsday, you have Ian McKellen, he's coming back as Magneto from the 20th Century Fox X-Men movies. That's right, Ian McKellen is coming back as Magneto. So that's kind of cool. You got Sebastian Stan coming back as Bucky from the Captain America series, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Thunderbolts. You have Winston Duke as M'Buka from the Black Panther series. You have Chris Hemsworth coming back, of course, as Thor. You have Kelsey Grammer, who made an appearance in, I think, a mid-credit scene or at the end of the Marvel film as Beast. He's coming back as Beast. And then here's the other big surprise. James Marsden. That's right, James Marsden. The same James Marsden. He's going to be a very busy man. Very busy man, yes. He's going to be a very busy man because not only does James Marsden, have to do his role as Tom, Donut Lord in the Sonic movies, but I think obviously with Sonic 4, but he's going to be a busy man because now James Marsden, he's going to be in the MCU as Cyclops. That's right, he's coming back as Cyclops. That's going to be kind of cool. And then here's a big one. Here's a big surprise people didn't expect because even though he was supposed to get a movie based on the character, but he didn't. But he did finally get a chance to realize that dream of being that character in Deadpool and Wolverine. We have Channing Tatum Channing Tatum as Gambit. That's right, Channing Tatum as Gambit. He will be in the film, obviously part of the X-Men. We'll have Wyatt Russell from Thunderbolts and from Falcon and Winter Soldier. He will be in it as U.S. Agent. Vanessa Kirby will be there as Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. Miss Invisible, if you will, from the Fantastic Four First Steps. Get this one. Rebecca Romijn, formerly Rebecca Romijn Stamos. She'll be returning as Mystique. That's right, Mystique. She will be back. Because apparently, I guess Jennifer Lawrence, who was Mystique in like First Class and in the films that followed after that, she wasn't particularly too fond of the makeup and all that, if you will. But yes, Rebecca Romijn Stamos, or Rebecca Romijn, is coming back. She will be Mystique. Patrick Stewart, who did make a return as Professor X in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, he will be back as Professor X. That being, like I said, Patrick Stewart, he will be back as Professor X, just like he was in Multiverse of Madness. He will be back in Avengers Doomsday. And I do apologize for a little bit of a pause stutter there. Like I said, it's early while I'm doing this. I do apologize. It's about 8:30 now in the morning. Continuing on. Here's one that's a surprise as well. Alan Cumming. Alan Cumming is coming back to the Marvel movies. He'll be coming back as Nightcrawler. Alan Cumming coming back as Nightcrawler. So that's kind of cool. Letitia Wright will be back as Black Panther, as Shuri. And I do apologize for that notification there, guys. That's another one. That's a text message I got. So I do apologize for that text message. But like I said, Letitia Wright will be back as Shuri, a.k.a. Black Panther. Then we have, I'm probably going to butcher his name here. We have Taquito Hurtado Mejia as Namor from Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We have Taquito Hurtado Mejia as Namor. He's coming back as... he's coming as Namor. He's coming into Avengers Doomsday. He was again in Wakanda Forever. We have Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal. He's going to be in this as Reed Richards. Of course, he's going to be Reed Richards in Fantastic Four later this year. We have Hannah John Carmen as Ghost from Thunderbolts, and I think from what was the other series she was in? Jessica Jones, I think, or something. I'm not really sure. But yeah, she's going to be back. We have Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, of course, from Fantastic Four. He'll be in this. Robert Downey Jr., of course, as Doctor Doom. Ambron Moss Baccarin as The Thing. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. But Ambron Moss as The Thing. And to round it out, Anthony Mackie as Captain America. So yeah, that's a decent list. That's a decent list right there. But what's interesting, it is not the full cast. Not the full initial... Well, basically it is the full main cast that we can assume. Because, again, they were the first ones, announced and everything. So we can assume that that's going to be the main cast. Like the characters that are going to get focused on the most. They're going to get focused on the most. But it's not the entire cast. Because a lot of people looked at this and they're like, okay, that's cool, but where's the other characters that we know were part of the Avengers, part of the X-Men? Where are they? What's going on here? Well, to kind of, I guess, ease people's minds and, the curiosity of like, okay, where's everybody else, obviously, that we know that's part of the MCU, like Tom Holland and Spider-Man and all that, or this person or that person that was part of the X-Men. It's like, where are they? Where are they? Why aren't they here? Well, again, like I said, apparently to ease people's minds, and I guess they were expecting that, those questions to be asked, the Hollywood Reporter and Discussing Film have all reported that Marvel has indicated that this is not this is not the end of the cast announcements for Avengers Doomsday. It's not. It's not the end for the casting announcements for Avengers Doomsday. And you know what? That's good to hear, because apparently they know that if they're going to make this movie and the following movie, Secret Wars, big, big time Avenger movies, probably bigger than Infinity War and Endgame, then they got to go all out. They got to go all out. And basically, and hold on for a second if you hear anything. That's me putting my code to check something, my lock code to my phone. But basically, there are names that are missing. There are names that are missing and everything. And again, Marvel has ensured, according to Hollywood Reporter, Variety, and Discussing Film and all of them, that there's more cast announcements to come in the near future. Whether or not they do it in a similar vein like they did here, that's up to them. They might even wait till San Diego Comic-Con to come out and say, hey, here's who else is in the film. Here's the entire cast, come out. Basically, if they wait till San Diego Comic-Con, maybe even CinemaCon within this next week, or within this week. Oh yeah, within the next week, I should say. If they wait till CinemaCon, one of those two events, either San Diego Comic-Con at the latest or CinemaCon within a week, if they wait till that time frame, then basically that's when you're going to get your full announcement of characters. Because obviously them doing this before CinemaCon and them planning to do the full rest of the cast, basically announce who else is going to be in the film and all that, or in the series of films, during this week of CinemaCon, that's genius. Because that way, not only do you have the public audience, the fans and all that, are getting a taste, or at least getting an idea of who's going to be in there, like maybe as the main cast, the focal points. But when you go to CinemaCon and you show that same video again, maybe in, quick montage, 2-minute long, presentation reel, and then you add on, oh, here's the rest of everybody else, that's going to get out to the public, obviously, and it's going to get people, I should say, talking about, what role they feel that character is going to play as the character, or as that actor and actress, I should say, as the character they're going to be is going to play in the film. Like how big that role is going to be, how minor that role is going to be, what the association with the main cast of characters are going to be. People are going to be curious. They're going to want to, find out things, obviously. They're going to want to find out things. And if that's the intention, to basically reveal the rest of the cast come CinemaCon, especially during the Disney Marvel Day, or the Marvel Day they have there, then again, that's kind of cool. That's good planning. That's good strategy. But if they're going to wait till all the way to San Diego Comic-Con, that's even better too. Hall H will explode. Hall H will explode with excitement if they wait to that time frame. Because that's when they did the whole, Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom reveal, right? So what better place to reveal the rest of the cast if they don't do it at CinemaCon? What better other place to do it than San Diego Comic-Con? I'm just saying. But basically, be that as it may, there is a lot of people that are part of the MCU, part of the Avengers, part of the X-Men, and all that have yet to be announced, and even some rumored names that are going to be part of this, in certain roles, because maybe other actors or actresses are not part of it or don't want to be part of it anymore. But the question is, though, who are these men and women that basically were part of the MCU, part of the X-Men, or are being rumored for certain roles? When and where are these people going to be announced as part of the movies? Because obviously they're coming in. And all that. When and where are they going to be part of it? Well, again, we don't know. We don't know when that's going to happen. Like I said, strategically, if they're planning to do the rest of the announcement at CinemaCon within a week, brilliant. But if they're waiting to San Diego Comic-Con to do something similar, maybe not as big, but similar to what they did with Robert Downey Jr.'s reveal as Dr. Doom, even just as brilliant, if not brillianter. But we'll see. But here though, is the cast of the list of actors and actresses and the roles they're known for, or are being considered for, that people are hoping are going to get announced maybe within time, maybe CinemaCon or San Diego Comic-Con as part of Avengers Doomsday, and maybe by extension the next movie. But with that said, here they are as we get to the 25-minute mark. Okay, so here's the cast of people, major MCU stars not included in the Avengers Doomsday cast, but again, according to reports, could potentially be announced later on, probably within the time frame of CinemaCon or San Diego Comic-Con. But here they are at 25 minutes, 20 seconds. Chris Evans, known as Captain America, he can be brought in, but let's not forget, Chris Evans was also the original Human Torch in the original live-action Fantastic Four films in the early to mid 2000s. So he could come back, but we don't know if he's going to come back as Human Torch, Fantastic Four Human Torch, if you will. We don't know if he's going to do that. I think he did that in Deadpool and Wolverine. I got to go back and watch that, but I'm sure he did. So he could come back reprising his role as Fantastic Four Human Torch from the mid 2000s early to mid 2000s Fantastic Four movies. He could do that. So that's a possibility. Or he could come back as Captain America, Steve Rogers. We shall see. Remember, there's also another version of Captain America out there that's more sympathetic to the other side, if you catch my drift. Now, with that said, the other name listed here, Haley Atwell, Haley Atwell. Haley Atwell, she's being discussed as Rogue. That's right. Her name, I think, is one of the names being thrown out there to be the new Rogue. Why? I'm guessing Annie Paquette either doesn't want to do it anymore, or she's retired or something. Let me know. Maybe I don't want to think the worst, anything, but yeah, apparently Annie Paquette, who did Rogue in the initial X-Men films, I don't know if they're gonna try to get her to come back or not. But apparently, if that's not the case, it looks like the lead nominee is Haley Atwell, Haley Atwell, to be the new Rogue. I think that's the name being tossed around. The other name, and for his role, we have Mark Ruffalo as Hulk. Obviously, you got to have him in there, especially when it comes to Secret Wars. So, again, he might show up in Doomsday, but again, they have not yet announced him. Danae Garea as Okiwa from Black Panther. She's not been announced yet, but she might be. Chris Pratt, who's been in a lot of things lately, voice-wise, as Star-Lord, he might be announced, but not yet. He's yet to be announced. Charlie Cox as Daredevil. Again, people expect him to be announced. Benedict Wong as Wong, I guess. He's yet to be announced, but there's a good chance he could be. Iman Venel, the young lady that played Miss Marvel, Iman Venel as Miss Marvel, she's yet to be announced, but she could be. Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye has yet to be announced, but he could be. One of the big ones here, Tom Holland as Spider-Man, has yet to be announced, but he could be. Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, he could potentially be in there. Tessa Thompson as Valkyria from the Thor movies, she could be in there. And let me see if I get this right. Hold on. All right, just want to make sure. Evangelion Lily as the Wasp, she has yet to be announced, but she could be. Paul Bettany as White Vision could be in there. We don't know. Tanitha Maslina, the actress who plays She-Hulk, she has yet to be announced, but she could be. Don Cheadle as War Machine has yet to be announced, but he could be. Brie Larson, another big one, as Captain Marvel, could be announced, but is yet. Olga Kulinko as Taskmaster. Olga Kulinko as Taskmaster has yet to be announced, but she could be. Samuel L. Jackson, a big one, basically the heart of the entire situation has yet to be announced as Nick Fury, but he could be. Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop has yet to be announced, but she could be. Elizabeth Olsen, who has gone on record and said, yeah, I'm not in the Avengers movies, but a lot of people are taking that with a very big grain of salt because Andrew Garfield said something similar when he said, oh, I'm not going to be in No Way Home. I'm not going to be in the Spider-Man movie No Way Home. And yet there he was. And of course, there was, some photo leaks and I think even an audio leak or something that pretty much debunked his claims of, oh, I'm not going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home, and yet there he was on screen as Spider-Man, as his version of Peter Parker. So yeah, a lot of people are taking Elizabeth Olsen's claim that she's not going to be back as Scarlet Witch in the Avenger movies with a very big grain of salt. So they're not taking it too seriously at all. Because again, Andrew Garfield did something similar, tried to cover up, oh, I'm not going to be in No Way Home. And yet, the leaks didn't help his cause. And pretty much when he showed up on screen, even after that, nobody's buying into it. And of course, we got to remember this too. We are in an age now, ladies and gentlemen. We are in an age where basically a lot of people that work in the entertainment business, whether it's acting or voice acting or even professional wrestling, which is sports entertainment and all that, we got to remember that we're now in an age, as I drink some coffee here for a second, guys, hold on. Very good. But we're now in an age, basically, to where secrecy has to be kept to the utmost tight lip, if you know what I mean. So in other words, if you're someone like Elizabeth Olsen, and pretty much people are going to, or you pretty much being Elizabeth Olsen know, people are going to point to me and say, oh, she's going to be in the Avenger movies. And you know that, yeah, you're probably going to be in them. You don't want people to know that. You don't want people to know that because the last time they saw your character was killed off, in Multiverse of Madness. Bit of spoiler there. So you don't want people to know that, hey, your character is going to be revived and brought back, so you play it off. You try to be tight-lipped about it. Because, again, we're in that day and age to where leaks get out very, very easily, even if unintentionally. So she obviously, if she is in it, is not letting people know because she wants it to be played off like, hey, my character's done. But anyway, Elizabeth Olsen has yet to be announced as Scarlet Witch, but she could be. Dakota Johnson as Madam Web. She's possible. She is possible. Not saying she is, but she did play an integral role. I think, in some of the Secret War stories. So, especially when it came to Doctor Doom being part of it. So, she could be involved. We'll see what they do there. I'm going to butcher this first name. I'm going to butcher this. Exchita Gomez as American Chavez. She is yet to be announced. She's, of course, from Multiverse of Madness. She is yet to be announced, but she could be. Terana Paris as Monica Rambeau. I think her superhero name is Photon, I think. Monica Rambeau. Teran Perez as Monica Rambeau. She is yet to be announced, but she could be. And of course, another one, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange has yet to be announced, but he could be. Now, the reason this list of people have yet to be announced, although they could be, because again, like I said, Marvel has gone on record, Marvel/Disney has gone on record by basically reporting that what you're seeing here, what you're hearing and seeing here, it's not the end of the story. It's not the end of the story and all that. There's still more to come. And if the planning, like I said earlier, to make the announcements come either CinemaCon, within a week when they obviously show a highlight reel of the cast announcements for Doomsday, that along with it, they decide to attach the announcement of everybody else for Doomsday, then that's good. That's great. Very brilliant. You want to keep that momentum going. You want people talking up to that point because they will, wondering whether or not certain people are going to be in it, along with the cast you've already announced. So yeah, that's a brilliant move. But if they want to save it for Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con this year, that's an even, as much as, this might be hard to say, but that's an even more brilliant move because, one, it may not be on the same mega level as Robert Downey Jr. being revealed as Doctor Doom, but it's going to be on the level, not on the level, but it'll be on a certain level to where basically at the same time when you reveal, hey, here's the rest of the cast of Avengers Doomsday, you could use that to say, yeah, they, along with the main cast of Doomsday, are all going to be together for Secret Wars. And then you make the announcement, and there's more to come for Secret Wars as well. So, yeah, they could use it for that too. They could wait till San Diego Comic-Con, show you who the rest of the cast is going to be, with a few exceptions, because they want to have they probably do want to have surprises. They probably do want to have surprises, but with a few exceptions, that they're going to hold back, to initially surprise people on screen with. They're going to basically probably use that opportunity not just to show who's also joining the cast for Doomsday, but also confirm that this whole group of actors and actresses that were initially announced yesterday, and this new cast and the rest of this cast that's being part of it, are all going to be together for Secret Wars. So if that's the case, if that's what they're planning to do for San Diego Comic-Con and that presentation there in Hall H, again, that's an even more brilliant move than probably waiting to reveal the rest of the cast for Doomsday come CinemaCon. But again, we'll have to sit back and see. There's plenty of time a week's time between CinemaCon, and plenty of time between that, though, and San Diego Comic-Con in July. Anyway, though, that's pretty much it for the initial Marvel's. That is. I do apologize. Like I said, it's early. Well, I'm doing this. I do apologize. But basically, that's pretty much it, I should say, for the announcement by Marvel for who the initial full main cast, in my opinion, quote unquote main cast, is going to be for Avengers Doomsday. I'm excited. It's great to see the original OG movie X-Men back. A lot of people are speculating that the reason they're being brought back in this manner, maybe along with other people that will be announced later on, is because of the fact that they're going to represent not the 2000s X-Men, no, not the movie X-Men, but they're going to basically represent the they're going to represent X-Men the animated series, basically X-Men the animated series, X-Men 97. That's what they're going to represent. That's what they're going to represent according to a lot of people. According to a lot of people are speculating that, in my opinion. They're speculating that they're going to get X-Men. They're going to get the X-Men from the animated series represented by these actors and actresses, which I think is kind of cool. I think it's kind of nice to see. So basically, you're going to get Cyclops in his bright blue outfit. He's going to be in his bright blue outfit and everything. He might even have the outfit he had at the finale of X-Men 97, so that'd be cool. You're going to have Nightcrawler. You're going to have Mystique. Obviously, Mystique, she has to have the white outfit, of course. She's got to have that white outfit if that's the one Rebecca Romijn's going to represent. So it's going to be nice to see and everything. And, again, there are some cast members, cast choices that have yet to be brought in. That's obvious. Like the girl that played Jean Grey in the movies, I think, what's her name? Francesca, I think. What's her name? Let me double check, guys. Let me double check something here for a second. Jean Grey actor. Okay, here we go. This should give me. Okay, easy for me to say. Easy for me to say. Let's see. I'm gonna probably butcher it, but Francine Jensine. She obviously, she's a Dutch actress and former model, of course. She's 60 years old, so that might be interesting. So you might have a 60-year-old Jean Grey, but then again, they got technology that can fix that. and everything. But again, you got her, you got Sophia Turner, you got Haley Rim, the young Jean Grey from Last Stand, and all that. So, you got Frankie Jensen, if you will, Franklin Jensen. Hold on for a sec. Let me do something, guys. Hold on. I'm sorry if you heard that. Hold on.
From scad.edu. Famke Janssen, a name etched in the annals of superhero cinema, is best known for her portrayal of Jean Grey in the X-Men series. Famke Janssen, a name etched in the annals of superhero cinema, is best known for her portrayal of Jean Grey in the X-Men series.
All right, Famke Janssen, I think that's Famke Janssen. That's what my device said, basically. So, yeah, she is yet to be announced and everything. But, again, we'll see what happens. I mean, she did play opposite of James Marsden in the X-Men films basically 25 years ago. So what was she 25 years ago? She's like 60 now or 61. 25 years ago, she was like 46, 45. So that's kind of interesting and all that. But yeah, she played opposite of him in the film, and it obviously worked. And so we'll see what happens. They bring her in. Again, they do have technology to DH her just a bit if they want to do that. But it's going to be interesting to see. In fact, hold on for a sec. Okay, I do apologize for that notification there, guys. That was a text from my family. But anyway, like I said, James Marsden, who's going to be very busy in these next couple of years, obviously, he's only about 10 years younger than her. So obviously it did work. Dynamic-wise, it did work. So, yeah, Franken Janssen, if they want to bring her back, she's yet to be announced. She could be one of those names that honestly is a surprise. Basically she could be in the film, but they're not going to say anything because it would ruin the surprise. It would ruin the surprise. So she could be in the film for all we know. She could even be in Secret Wars for all we know. But then again, they could say, let's go Sophia Turner, and they could do that too. But I think if they're going to want to, have that connection, they're going to want to have that connection between, the original X-Men films and X-Men 96. Basically, they're going to want that connection, I should say, between the, all the X-Men kind of situation, the X-Men animated series and the X-Men films. Then obviously they got to have Frankie Janssen in there as Jean Grey. They got to have her. They have to. And again, they might be keeping her a secret, to surprise people. Same with Annie Paquette, if you will. Hold on for a second. Like I said, they could be, Annie Paquette, she's still acting, so thank God for that. But again, she could be a surprise too. Again, they're not going to let anything out of the bag yet. They're not going to let anything out of the bag. If there's anything they're going to do, with the rest of the cast announcements in the future, they're just probably going to announce characters that will play sub roles, like the ones like the actors and actresses in the roles they're known for or they're being considered for. They might come in and play sub roles, like they'll have parts in it, to where at times they'll have major moments, have major on-screen moments, but they're only going to be there for like a minuscule amount of time. Like if you want to look at it from a percentage standpoint, you could look at someone like, let's say, Benedict Wong as Wong. You could see him there being, you could see him being there for the duration of let's say, what he was in Avengers Endgame at the end. You could see that's how long he could be around for that long. For that long. He could be around for that long, and that's it. He could basically be around for like 15% of the film, and that's it. Mostly like for the major fight scenes and battles and all that. Same with Secret Wars. So a lot of these actors and actresses that I listed off that have yet to be announced, they're obviously going to be announced. But basically, either those announcements are going to be saved for CinemaCon or mostly for San Diego Comic-Con, so they can tie that announcement in, basically give you that full cast of characters with a few surprises. When they announce that all of them are going to be together, not just for Doomsday, but in a big way for Secret Wars. So I think so. I think if they don't do the rest of the cast announcement within a week at CinemaCon, it'll be at San Diego Comic-Con, where again they could tie it all together to announce, hey, everybody will be part of Secret Wars with a few surprises. And then when they see a few surprises, that's when people's minds will start, speculating, and the wheels will start turning and being like, oh, who could those surprises be? And I think basically the surprises could range from Frankie Jensen as Jean Grey, Annie Paquet as Rogue, representing that time frame of the X-Men. We could see the young Sophia Turner, come in as Jean. She was Jean Grey from the X-Men series and all that. The younger years and all that, First Class and everything. She could come back and everything. So that's going to be interesting to see how they make that all happen. They can even have the guy that played the young Scott Summers, the young Cyclops, as well. They can have him come back and all that. A lot of people are like, well, where's Iceman and all that? Well, obviously you're going to get Iceman in there. You're going to get the actress who played Kitty Pryde in there, and all that. So you're going to get those actors and actresses as well. You're even going to probably get Tyler Mane, who played Sabretooth. You're going to get him in there as well. But again, these are announcements, for people, for actors known for their roles, I should say, in the films. These are announcements that Marvel is probably waiting on for a certain time, whether it's CinemaCon within a week, or at the latest, and probably most appropriate, San Diego Comic-Con. Because again, they can make the announcement of the rest of the cast for the Avengers movies, I should say, Doomsday and Secret Wars, tie it all together, but then say, hey, here's a few others, but hey, we have a few other surprises as well, and there you go. Because one obvious name that they're looking forward to, two obvious names, obviously, as of recently, is Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they want to see these guys come in because obviously we saw multiverse versions of them in Deadpool and Wolverine. So obviously they're going to want to see Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds as the respective characters, in Avengers Doomsday, if not Secret Wars. So that's probably where the rest of the announcement's going to come, and maybe even the surprises might come in as well. But outside of that, though, it's a decent start. A very unique way for Marvel to make the announcement of who I believe is going to be the main cast of characters for Avengers Doomsday that will build into Secret Wars. And then when they announce the rest of the cast, which apparently and reportedly they're going to do, that announcement will come either at the earliest within next week at CinemaCon to tie in with the little highlight reel of the announcement of characters here, or the cast here, or they're going to wait till San Diego Comic-Con, and I do apologize for the notification there, guys. I do apologize for that. But they're going to probably wait till San Diego Comic-Con, to fully give you the cast announcement, not just for Doomsday, but for Secret Wars as well, and maybe even hint at a few surprises being part of that as well. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video if you like. Also, you can find me at all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates. You can find me at iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Audible from Amazon. You could find me at Radio Public. You can find me at Overcast. Anywhere there is a podcast, you will find mine there as well. You will find me also at VENMO at BW Roses. Odyssey.com at BW-5. You can find me at Rumble.com at BW Roses. StephenArt.com at BVW1979. You can find me at InkBunny.net at BW Roses. You can also check out the Teespring store for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. Also, ladies and gentlemen, you can support me over at Patreon.com. I do have a new video up there talking about adult actress Kira Reed and what she was about, who she was about and everything, and what she could still potentially do if she's still in the business. That's under the $3 and $5 tier. You can also support me with a $1 tier tip if you want to. You can also support me through Venmo and Cash App. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also, guys, you can follow me or find me over at twitch.tv and kick.com. I got to get those things up and running very soon again as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you can also follow me over at Twitter, aka x.com at bwroses, Blue Sky at bwroses, and TikTok at bwroses. But guys, give me your thoughts overall. And again, I do apologize for the boom boom sounds, like I said. Like I said earlier at the beginning, those were going to be notifications and stuff, and obviously they were text messaging and all that, emails. I do apologize if you heard that throughout the video. And I do apologize if I felt like I was a little all over the place. Like I said, it was early when I started this. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are, though, outside of what I had to say. What are you looking forward to the most? Who else do you think will be announced besides the ones that have yet to be announced that I talked about and mentioned? And what surprises do you think we might have in store, when it comes to these films, at least Doomsday and Secret Wars, when it comes to actors and actresses reprising roles that they're known for? Let me know down below, and until then, I am out.